to redraw the state's congressional maps. The chamber passed the measure 18-11 on a party line vote after more than 8 hours of debate. The plan, pushed by President Donald Trump, aims to flip 5 Democratic seats to Republicans. It follows approval in the state house on Wednesday and now heads to the Governor Greg Abbott for his signature. Republicans argue the new maps will help the party maintain its slim majority in the U.S. House during next year's midterms. Bill sponsor Senator Phil King said race was never a factor, insisting voting history was the legal and accurate guide. Democrats fiercely oppose the plan. They said it dilutes black and Hispanic voting power and violates federal law. Senator Royce West warned the new map could cut African-American representation in Congress from 4 seats to 2. Democrats vowed to challenge the bill in court. We're now once again joined by Andrew Latham, who's a professor of international relations, and he joins us live from Minnesota. Andrew, as always, thank you very much for speaking to us here on NewsX World. Andrew, there's a lot of anger around this, of course, from the Democratic side. Is their anger warranted?
Not really. It's a bit of the kettle calling the pot black, I think. The Democrats are doing the same thing in California. And that's just the tip of a very big iceberg, to mix metaphors. There's something of a history in the United States in recent decades of polarization around these sorts of issues. States going either more decisively Republican or more decisively Democrat, more blue or more red, as it were, and fewer purple states, which is the lingo here, talking about states that sometimes go Republican, sometimes Democrat. So state legislatures, when they are captured by one party or the other, are being used to redraw the electoral maps so as to guarantee at both the state level and at the federal level that that state will return members of that party. So it's not an ancient story, but it's an old story, and it's one that's being replicated in many states, some Democrat, some Republican.
Could you explain to us how these lines can be redrawn democratically here?
Well, the state legislature has a great deal of latitude across the country, state legislatures. And what they do is, what they tell you that they're trying to do is be fair, make sure that they draw the lines so as to maximize democratic input, so that you don't have all of these constituencies simply, the term is gerrymandered, gerrymandered so as to guarantee that you're returning one party or the other. But what in practice is happening, of course, is gerrymandering. They are redrawing the lines, which they have the authority to do, although it can be challenged in court. They are redrawing the lines of what Americans call electoral districts, constituencies. In Canada, they call ridings, so as to include a majority of voters who have in the past voted for that ruling party. It happens on a fairly regular basis. It's supposed to be kind of extraordinary, and the fact that it's happening at this point in the electoral cycle is a little unusual as well. Not unprecedented, but unusual. And in Texas, it really is partly about capturing, for the Republicans, more and more of the Hispanic vote, which historically has been pro-Democrat, but increasingly, until quite recently, has been drifting very powerfully towards the Republican Party. Although recently under Donald Trump and his undocumented migration policies, he's alienated some of that constituency as well.
Andrew, just briefly, because we're running out of time on this story, how's it looking for Donald Trump and his Republicans going into that 2026 midterm election? Obviously, it's quite early, but what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are that it's not going to go well for the Republicans and Trump, and that seems to be the drumbeat around here. Part of the reason is he is alienating certain key swing constituencies. The Indian American diaspora has lost interest in him increasingly because of his policies vis-a-vis India, and the Hispanic community is divided, but is drifting a little bit back towards the Democratic Party. And then Donald Trump, of course, is unpopular amongst undecideds amongst Democrats and even amongst many Republicans these days. So I think in terms of presidential politics, I think no matter who the Republicans put forward, they're not going to do terribly well.
Andrew, thank you very much for that insight. You are staying with us for further developments. And next we move over to West Africa.